Hi, this is Mark, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Mormon underwear. Some people call them, magic underwear, and there's a lot of different names they give them. In the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they just call them garments. And people pick on the church a lot for this, and it's really not fair. And not just not fair, it's inappropriate. The garments are something that's it's a sacred thing to members of the church. Now, I'm not a member anymore, but I'm going to still say it's a sacred thing to members of the church. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the temple garments and kind of the misnomers about them that non-members have. Not all members of the church wear garments. And what these it's underwear. And when you go to the temple for the first time, you go through what's called an endowment, and you start wearing this underwear, and it's an undershirt and pants. It used to be a one-piece when I was younger in the 1970s, but there's markings in them that are considered sacred. There's here in the chest, in the navel area, and in the knee, and they have spiritual significance to members of the church. Now, it's no big deal secret of what it is. It has to do with kneeling and praying to God, and that Jesus Christ, they believe, is the Son of God, and that they believe that everyone's going to accept it eventually. And then it has to do with staying healthy and eating the right things and being a healthy person, and about being right and square with the Lord. And it's about remembering the promises that you make in the temple and the promises that you make to the Lord. And basically, you're promising things, particularly like you're not going to commit sexual sins, you're not going to cheat on your spouse. Okay, if you're married, you're not going to have sexual relations with anyone except your spouse. Okay, that's okay. So those are some of the promises you make in the temple. And when you're given the garment, they say that it's going to be a shield and protection for you. Now, the misnomer is, and even some members of the church think that means it's going to be, if your house catches on fire and there's a big fire, that you're going to be protected. Well, sorry, you're not, because they're made out of cloth and they burn. So the garment is supposed to be a spiritual protection. It's not, they don't mean it's physically going to protect you from a bullet hitting you. So some people that don't like the Mormons so much ridicule them for their sacred garments. I remember years ago when I went to the Salt Lake Temple, there was someone outside and they were holding up some old one-piece garments, to like taunt members of the church. Okay, that's just, is that really going to convince any member of the church that their church is false, for one? Is that proving anything except it's just taunting them? It's just taunting someone. It's disrespectful to someone else's religion to do something like that. We should respect other people's religions. Now, the garment has a bit of a history. It started way back in the days of Joseph Smith, the founder. Originally, the garment went all the way to the sleeves, and you always have to keep it covered. So that meant that women and men had to have long sleeve shirts, and it went down to the ankles, so they had to go long. Over the years, they've altered the garment. The markings they haven't, but they've altered the lengths and so forth, so you could wear different styles. So still the garments have sleeves. That's the reason why you don't see women who wear garments with sleeveless dresses. You don't see men wearing tank tops who wear garments. The Mormons members of the church who wear the garment are instructed that they're supposed to wear it all of the time, except for when they're doing, say, sports activities. You can go swimming and change, but as soon as you're done, you're supposed to get back into your garment. It is a symbolic thing that's supposed to remind them of the promises that they made in the temple, and it's supposed to remind them about their spirituality in God. It's not some magic thing, and it's really not something to make fun of, because guess what? Every religion has something that you could make fun of, right? That maybe seems weird or strange. It's not that weird or strange, frankly. It's just what the belief is. So let's have some respect for others.